Morning, yo. I honestly feel like I'm in a dream. Like, I wake up every day, and sometimes, honestly, the majority of the time, my natural disposition is very excited about life. I'm just, thrilled to see, what the day is going to bring me. And I just, I trust that existence is going to take care of me more than ever. Like, when I was younger, I used to always think that, anything that could go wrong would go wrong. It's a terrible law to live by. It's just kind of inspires a certain line of thinking that I think is very limiting. It's got lack built in, I guess, like this expectation, literally, that everything will go wrong. I'm not saying don't be prepared, but I am saying that our own perceptions of scarcity and lack are typically what make us miserable. So if you make your life all about trying to avoid suffering by being overly prepared, you're suffering ahead of time so that you don't spend present time at some point in the future being miserable. When really you can control your mental state from the present by just accepting whatever is occurring. That could be physical pain, that could be mental pain, just accepting it as it is. I'm not saying it's going to disappear. I'm saying if you truly do accept whatever sort of pain or suffering perceived, these are just perceived things, by the way, whatever perceived non-preferred experience you're having, if you just accept it, just say, oh, this is how it is. It's happening like this because it needs to. Whatever justification you need to give it, whatever way you can convince yourself, because that's what existence really is, especially in our society. It's how can you convince yourself to be happy? And it sounds like that's coming from a place of lack, but not really. It's just a recognition that we all have our own mental rules that we get from that we have. And at some point you start to streamline, that we have from the experiences that we have, until we have a day where we're just kind of wait a minute, this is our life and we can live it how we want. And why am I spending my time being miserable? I'm sure many of you watching this have had that experience where it's literally I'm sure this is what some people refer to as waking up. I don't like to use super esoteric terms, because I feel like when you use those kind of terms, they kind of separate the average man from, even that is separating. I'm just saying everyone can take responsibility and allow themselves the happiness that comes from taking responsibility for feeling this way or that. Yeah, so I think everybody can do that. But I guess what I started this video with was having this disposition of being joyous about life. I really am that way. I think every day is a creative expression of the universe. It's everything exists, right? So we can't not exist. So that means all of the possibilities of existence are existing, and it's up to you to be happy about the one that you're perceiving at the moment. Because once you try to appreciate everything in your life as it is, everything starts to streamline a lot more. And I'm not saying everything gets easier and time flies by, whatever. I will say it does get easier, but that's just because you're stopping yourself from allowing yourself to have all these triggers, all these reasons as to why you should be feeling a negative energy. And it's when I was younger and I would hear the word energy, someone use it like that, I'd be like, that's so woo woo, or that's so just not my speed. But now it's no, it literally is your energy. If you want to think about it in terms of physical energy, that's fine as well. It's your mental energy that you're spending feeling negative or positive or neutral, if you're willing to do so, about whatever event, stimulus, or any sort of experience that you're having in your life. You're spending your mental energy responding to it. Okay? So just choose to be oh, okay, yeah, this is happening and I can appreciate it because of this. However you need to convince yourself, right? Because once you continue to convince yourself to be positive or neutral, which is acceptance, to whatever experience shows up in your life, you're literally spending less energy being in a state of negativity, which is absolutely a drag. Absolutely a drag. And if you're telling yourself, well, I have to experience negativity, one, that's just not true. That's just not true. Like, you can have a life where things happen to you, and they can be terrible things, but they make you who you are. They reveal to you, if you can't figure out any way to convince yourself, this should, at the very least, work. It's revealing more of yourself to you to have whatever non-preferred experience that you're having. Shows you, oh, I'm more of this, okay. And, all right, well, now this is an opportunity for me to try and practice acceptance. What does acceptance feel like? Sometimes when I am thinking about trying to convince myself, I'll get a little confused about, like, am I convincing, like, my logical mind or whatever? No, it's really more about, like, feeling it. And it's so interesting because, like, in our world, as you grow up, you're supposed to become more and more mature and less childlike. And the main thing that I associate with being childlike is having an imagination. Having an imagination is literally committing to the feeling of an experience that isn't necessarily real, right? Isn't necessarily happening, but you can imagine it. And if you can imagine it, if that's visualizing it, that's a great first step. But then the feeling of those feelings, the feeling of that experience is what will actually change who you feel that you are. And it's like, oh, it's so interesting to try and explore consciousness. Like, you have to, I'm almost like using the same words, but hoping that they communicate differently. I don't know. It's just so interesting. I hope this video was helpful for you, and I love you, and it's another beautiful day. That's it. I love you. Take care.